Welcome, everyone. You've read the title, you know that we're going to be talking about Roman mythology. So, let's switch scene. Um, here that. Over time, the Adventian hills had an S. Don't I read that word? I'm not a strong reader. Association with the goddess Danae, and the goddess of the hunting and the moon in the ancient Roman Adventians was often seen as Papian hill descent from the more Praetorian and Palatine hills over time. Various temples and Seraphians were built too and on the Adventian hills, reflecting the religious practices that are needed of community and that of restrictions. One of the temples over at the Aventian Hills decided on Dionysian, and this temple was the Dionysian Percadian. Significance for the Papians and its founding was recorded as tradition, as the final place where the slaves and the Papian could be worshipped and stood in the considered hills of the Dionysian Palatine, which was reserved Spartan and Aventines became that still of symbolically Palatines and regions freedom and other deities, whereas Siskian, Ventians, Xerian, the goddess of agriculture, Sardius had nobility and precisions of Adventians of long labor and liberty. She was the veteran of temples and according to the Fabian characters. The temples had significant places of that too that its ancestors to Cicerine, Fabian, and considerable mid-April honest Syrians and the Adventian religion services to focus on the Arabian political region's advantages. As Rome grew, the evolution of Aventia became that of resident areas of Presidians. The late Roman Republic attracted both that of Plebeians, and Affectian Libyans. The hills region's significance also evolved over time to embrace that of Plebeian duties and all religions as guardians of the temple. Hercules' victory is just it explains reflection of that diverse spiritual life in the hills of Hyperions, Roman mythology, and Astronomian. One of the faithful expressions of Roman mythology is the influence of an extraordinary Roman, like many citizens, and like looked to the heavens for guidance and incited that they saw celestial bodies as representing of the duties attractable said word
Attributing.
attributing divine characteristics of to the planets and stars, connecting between myth and astronomy was a significant part of Roman culture and of its influence. There were only that of influences with the places within it. How Roman deities influenced naming the celestial bodies, viewing of the skies as bodies, caveating the Roman names of planets after their gods and goddesses, believing that this was the heavenly body posing as the characteristics of duty, representing the beliefs of shaping understanding the cosmos, but also the deities of life, that the guilty guidance of these celestial duties, deities in their involving life. We still use these names for planets even today, which I'm pretty sure most of us know this role of women in the Roman. Women held primary roles in mythology. Sabina, the woman of incest, in the ninth, and since played provincial roles early founding of the Roman according to legendary early Roman lacking the ways depictions for women from any of the neighboring Scythian tribes. This is even climatic if the war ended with Scythian women invading to break place. Another notable mention is the tale of Treviat, the woman who betrayed her city for gold, without crushing under the shields of and becoming the accessories with that of Treviat rocks. The female goddess which has held already talking about the deity, deity and the god of hunt, reserve and for her powers, and connecting the to nature. Dionysian was centered figures in the Roman legend landscape, and her significance is not laid in her mystery over hunting, but also predators and of women and children. Such a tale often underscores the multiple influences roles of women both in moral, divine play and the myths of the Roman and ancient and as well the ancient investors and virgins of religions, engaging and scaring teen flames, the privileges forbidden for body in the Roman dictionaries, translation, adoption of myths, the richest narratives and mythologies having to do subjections and translations, abductions over centuries of preserving analytics and Roman acquaintances. These ones have been required in the culture's lanes and each bringing which is over old wells and modern like Syrian ancient deities. I want to see who's in chat. Hi. Now mod. Roman mod tradition of mythological telling, but has been adopted and translated for numerous languages for continuing and captivating audiences with timeless and themes and characters. studying and of the mythology of has been focused on many renowned scholars throughout history. Dionysius and Heracles and the ancient historical context, historical revelations of Roman visions, Phoenician, others Dionysians, scholarly divine into that of like ecumenical Roman names and more. Time, Oxford University. Okay, that doesn't talk about cults. Along with the mythology and legends of offerings and unofferings, gods and goddesses therefore are existing numerous cults. Many Roman empires were defined by reserving gods and goddesses, deaths and factions. Standby practices empires, several Alexanders and 300 AD owns. Cults and legends in the Imperial Legion. The Republican practice. The soldiers of the Imperial Legion were often quite mixed bag, expanding of the Roman Empire during this period from Augustus from in 27 BC onwards meant that the Roman military relied on them. Then even soldiers often overseeing territories those men brought with them their own practices, religions, superstitions, mythology over the beliefs of from the homeland. Not only this, but the legions are also placed so in practically impersonally darkness and that they are legions say Aquilius Latin for eagle, also most but a symbol from the worship of the resume of that to lose it and lost it. Concerning such symbols, disgrace translation that tragically that soldiers' willingness to risk their own lives in battle as a form of sole and purpose of trying to win back. Roman domestic cult. While the Romans had always had a Hellenic strain for status favorites to the goddess, to the gods like Jupiter and Mars, nearly their deity. The soul most Romans familiar was simply household based religions focused on their around locations and spiritual and family spirits. The worship of these spirits were truly defined by religions of what really separate them from sisters of religions of Greek paganism. Cult of Isis. The cult of Isis was things for from Ptolemy Hellenized into the disagree that they Roman mind could understand, yet for standing forward enough into exotic alien which was a part of its appeal to many Romans when a cult is of ISIS swept into the Roman Empire, invade his Hellenistic sailors and Egyptians emerged and became extremely popular with women and the class of that, including slaves, fearing a religion unforetold of religion separation of Roman society, fearing the lost vanity of Roman tragedy, statehood, representing of that. Hey, Christianity, the rise of Christianity, the more dominated in Western religions may very well have been involved. But key moments along the way, which helped the security of those posting, emerged Christianity in Roman Empire was based in many factors and the inclusion of many unheavenly changes. No. Concluding the journey into Roman mythology, the Roman between the lines of history and myth often blurs the wind. Studying ancient civilizations, especially in the Roman world, where myths were not just stories, but they were also the culture's fabric that intertwined in with the historical events of these time. Example, the legendary Romulus and Remus was given the mythological origins of the city's wall. Tales surrounding figures like Dominus Julius Caesar defined were Roman kings, technically supers managing history characteristics with mythological elements. The religion over time, Rome was changed to be by adapting numerous conflicts, beliefs in the times, and by the assignments of vesting amounts of Greek mythology that could not be even served. That said, exploring the Roman mythology often had journeys into beliefs, narratives that shape in the ancient world, and the belief mythology of unwavering Greek mythology preserving the riches of temperance, filling the gods and goddesses, heroes, monsters from expulsion, and of the Roman goddess Vestas adventures and Ares. These stories valid fears of exploration of the Roman people. Rome mythology can be viewed and compared with the Greek mythology. Rome, especially in their early days, were significantly influenced. Greeks, Vespers expects from gods, art, exploration, articles to religion's philosophy, the gods Poseidon from interacting for finding counterparts of in the Roman Neptune, such as parallels of on basically I don't know how you say that word. Ubiquitous and the power pantheist and of these ancient cities, Greek religions with that its ability, rituals and partaking pantheist and was a rich sources of inspiration. Greek gods pantheist when adopting that by Romans were sometimes modified to fit the Roman ethos of both offerings, retaining their own core of history. And we've reached the end. That's it. Well, guess I'm just gonna end the stream then, since that's it. And nobody else has anything to say, and we ain't got nobody here, so I'm gonna end the stream. Bye bye.